welcoming everybody to the channel. On today's video, we are going to be doing another tactic recreation over on Football Manager 24. We're going to be taking over as Everton manager, with the Toffees dancing around the relegation zone with Sean Dyche in charge. It was time for a change. We welcome David Moyes, 4 wins in their last 5, and one of the most informed teams at the moment in the Premier League. So Everton fully turning the corner now under David Moyes. Let's head on over now to SofaScore, where we're going to have a little bit more of an in-depth look at the Toffees and how David Moyes sets up his team to really see this uplift and upturning form. So welcome in everybody to the video, and as you've seen from the intro, Everton really going about their business very well in the Premier League. 4 wins in their last 5. Of course, they did lose David Moyes' first game against my team, Aston Villa. But let's face it, it was Moyes' first match in charge. He's trying to get to know the players, get to know who can do what, and it wasn't quite their day. They had opportunities, but unfortunately for Everton, come at that game with 0 points. But as we look at the next run of fixtures, we can see beating Tottenham by 3 goals to 2, a fantastic win away at Brighton, smashing Leicester by 4 goals to 0, and then unfortunately losing to Bournemouth, who were once again one of the most informed sides in the Premier League. So that's not to be too downbeat on the situation. A massive Merseyside 2-2 draw with a late goal from Tarkowski. Everton and David Moyes still using the 4-2-3-1, but we can see over the past few games how David Moyes has sort of changed the tactical approach to things. They're looking to press up a little bit higher at the field now. They want to get crosses into the box, and why wouldn't you? With Beto in there, a real powerhouse and scoring a lot of goals at the moment for the Toffees. But like I said, they're looking to be a little bit more positive in possession, playing slightly higher up the field and not inviting pressure on from the opposition. And when you've got the ball and when Everton have possession, they like to take their time. They're a little bit more patient in their approach. But with being so good on the front foot, they're not sacrificing stuff defensively. They're still very good at the back, but they're looking to try and control the game a little bit more, and they're definitely doing that very successfully, hence the uplifting form. We are going to be using the Everton trip to Crystal Palace to give us a bit of an understanding of how they're setting up and how they're ultimately going about their business. But overall, over the past 5 games, what we can sort of take stock of straight away is every game they don't have as much possession as the other team. But forget about that. You know, on this game, they weren't far off 50-50, but if we looked at the Tottenham, the way at Brighton, home against Aston Villa, they still had a lot less possession, but ultimately still managed to get a lot of points on the board. So they are getting really clinical in front of goal and not giving many opportunities away to the opposition. But in this game here, like we said, 42% possession. They still had 11 shots on target, and like we just said about being clinical, 2 big chances, and they managed to win the game by 2 goals to 1. If you look at some of the previous games, especially under Sean Dyche, Everton now having a lot more passes on the ball. They're not as direct as they usually are. Don't get me wrong, if there's a long ball to be played, David Moyes and his Everton team will play that long ball, but they're looking to retain possession a little bit more. And in fairness, if you've got the ball, the opposition can't score, which goes hand in hand with each other. But yeah, they are having a lot more touch to the ball now, a little bit more possession, and they're looking to really dominate and dictate the tempo. Both the goals away at Crystal Palace did come from inside the box. They're looking clinical, they're not scared to dump the ball into the box, and of course they're not scared to work it in a little bit more patiently. So looking at the back 4, we're going to start off with the wing backs, and just as we expected, Jake O'Brien a little bit more expansive in his play, looking to get a further forward, linking up play with Jesper Lindstrom, getting down towards that right hand side, heading towards the opposition penalty box. But Mykolenko on the flip side, a little bit more conservative, looking just to get past that halfway line, pushing the opposition back into their own half, but he will also look to link up play with the midfielders and also do a couple of deep crosses as and when necessary. But both the centre halves in Tarkowski and Braithwaite, you can see now their main job, of course, defend, and that's exactly what they're good at. But now you'll see the Everton defensive line stepping up a little bit more up that field, not quite on the halfway line, but in between the penalty box and the halfway line, pushing the opposition back, getting the ball away from their own goal and pinning the opposition back into their own half a little bit more. But as we progress into the video, you can see how this back line, when it squeezes up, really does help the attacking players with their press, getting forward, looking to win them turnovers and get that ball back into Everton's possession. The two midfielders for Everton, James Garner has a little bit more of a free roam in the middle of the park, but overall, in my opinion, very much a deep line playmaker. The ball will come into feet and he will look to spring that ball forward. Whether it's a more direct, whether it's short, you definitely have the option from James Garner. Really, really good of a deep line playmaker, roaming playmaker. We'll have a look at that when I get onto FM24, but his job really is to dictate the tempo and dictate the terms in the middle of the park. But partnering him, of course, it's the powerhouse of Idrissa Gueye, a real engine of this Everton team, gets all around the field. He is going to be there to break up possession, win that ball back, and then look to offload that to the likes of Garner next to him, or even get the ball over to Mikalenko, James O'Brien to get them counter-attacks going. But a really, really good centre midfield partnership, and it's working very, very well indeed at the moment for Everton. The two wide players, we've got Lindstrom on the right and Harrison on the left. Now Harrison, for me, definitely a winger, looking to get towards that touchline, even the byline, and get some crosses into the box. But Jesper Lindstrom, a little bit more of an inside forward. He is going to receive the ball, but with O'Brien looking to get forward down that right hand side, there's going to be space then for him to overlap, so we can expect Lindstrom to cut inside with the ball, linking up with Alcaraz or Decore or Beto, whoever it may be. But he's going to be an inside forward and look to make things happen. But a really, really good wide partnership. We've got the blend of pace, power. We've got Harrison's dribbling abilities, but also that going very, very well suited to Lindstrom's sort of technique and his eye to see a pass and his vision on the ball. He's definitely caused a lot of problems for the opposition, and really exciting times for Lindstrom and for Everton. In the attacking midfield central area, it's a really exciting position for, well, in my opinion, with Alcaraz coming on board. Of course, they've got Decore, who offers a little bit more power, a bit more strength in there, holding the ball up. So they are two really, really different players. Alcaraz is really good with the ball at his feet, can thread the eye, the needle pass. Also, quite a bit of flair as well. So it's nice to see that Everton now have a bit of two completely different players that do different jobs, and they've got that versatility in the team. But whoever really is in that role is going to make things happen in that cam role. On this occasion, it's Alcaraz, and we can see he's pretty much all over the pitch. He's got a bit of a free roam, a license to thrill in the middle of the park, linking up play out on the left, the right, but also not scared to get into the advanced positions, and that of course goes the same for Decore. He will give and does give Everton 110% every game. He scores goals and he's an absolute nuisance. Leading the line for Everton over recent weeks is the old Udinese player in Beto, who has been a revelation for most people, but for me, I've watched a lot of Serie A football over the years, and he's always was a really, really good player. If this guy gets the ball into his feet, yeah, you just try and get him off. He's absolutely super strong. You're not going to hustle him off the ball. Another player that will give you 110%. He's got an eye for goal. He can make a pass if absolutely necessary. He can hold the ball up. A very, very talented striker. And where we've seen Calvert-Lewin over the past few months and potentially a couple of seasons missing really good opportunities, Beto is taking them chances. You can see how much ground he covers. He's not scared to drop a little bit deeper, get out wide left and right, but ultimately, yes, he's there to score goals. But we know he's going to put himself about the field. He's going to lead that line very well. He's going to lead the press, and we're going to be able to have a very, very successful season with such a talented striker at Everton Football Club. You're lucky to have him. I wish we had this kind of striker at the Villa. So Everton really have turned the corner. The only question is now, can we replicate this David Moyes setup to a T on FM24? Can we get him away from the relegation zone? It's going to be fun. I do love Everton. It's a proper football club, just like my team, the mighty Aston Villa. And I'm really happy to see David Moyes having a little bit of success again. And can we just replicate it? Let's get over to FM24 and let's make this bad boy. We are here at the Toffees, The Premier League season is just about to get underway, and just before we head in to the tactical screen and have a look at my take on the David Moyes setup here at Everton in the Premier League, we are already fighting to keep our heads above water. We've got that 6-point deduction, but I'm hoping to turn that around as quick as possible, get ourselves out of the drop zone. So here it is, my interpretation of the Moyes setup. We are, of course, in the 4-2-3-1. Starting off in goal, we have got Pickford as a sweeper, keeper support, with no additional instructions added to him. In the wing-back left position, we have, of course, got Mykolenko, wing-back support. The instructions we've added to him is cross more often. Of course, cross from deep. We don't want him getting too far forward. We want to do what he can do best. He's good with the ball at his feet, get towards that halfway line and look to get the ball up the field into the box or into the feet of one of our attacking players. And on the opposite side to him, we've got Patterson on the right as a wing-back attack. We know he's going to be a little bit more expansive in his play. We want him getting forward down that wing. So we've got him as wing-back attack. Instructions are take more risks, cross more often and stay wider on the field. But like we said, with Lindstrom being an inside forward, as he cuts inside there, we're going to get opportunity and space then for Patterson to do what he does best, down that right hand side and get the ball into the box to one of our attacking players. Both the centre halves are set as central defenders, defend, and the only thing I've added to them is tackle harder. Even with Dyche or with Moyes, the Everton way is the robust way. We want these players getting involved, getting their tackles in there, leaving some on the opposition, making them not want the ball. And with Braithwaite and Tarkowski, real warriors in that back line for the Toffees. The two centre midfielders, we have Garner in a defensive midfielder support role. Now, I was umming and ahhing whether to go for a deep line playmaker, roaming playmaker, and I've opted against both of them. And I think being a defensive midfielder, being a little bit more direct in his passing, looking to get a little bit further forward when the opportunity arises, really suited how Everton play in real life. And get your defensive duties done first, get the ball back under your spout and then look to release it to one of the attacking players. And the same pretty much goes for Idrissa Gueye, partnering Garner in the middle of the park, ball-winning midfielder, support, get forward when you can, when it's safe to do so, but we've also added take fewer risks. His main job is going to be to break up possession, win that ball back, and then maybe offload it to Garner, let him play that ball forward. So what we can see straight away is a really combative, energetic, dynamic duo in the middle of the park for Everton. On the attacking midfield right, it takes us to Jesper Lindstrom. Inside forward support, we've got the additional instructions of shoot less often, but also sit narrower. And as he does cut inside with the ball, looking to link up with Alcaraz, Doucouré, Beto, whoever it may be, we're going to get that space then. We're going to draw in the opposition fullback towards Lindstrom, creating that space for Patterson to get forward, get towards the byline and get the ball into the box, whether it's a cross, a high cross, whether it's a low cross, work that ball in there and start creating some opportunities down the right. But a lot of fantastic play for Everton comes down this right hand side, so we really want to try and get that spot on if we can. But with that being said, it takes us to the left hand side in Jack Harrison. Winger, attack, we know what he's all about. Get that ball into feet, run at the opposition and get crosses into the box. We have just got the default instructions on Harrison, but that's really well suited to that role, that position on that side of the field for the Toffees. Up next in the central attacking midfield area takes us to Doucouré, but let's not forget we have got Alcaraz, who definitely can do a job in that role. But on this occasion, like we said, it is Doucouré, advanced playmaker support, the additional instruction of move into channels. I don't want Doucouré or Alcaraz to be scared of dropping back into here, helping out their midfielders, looking to win the ball back. When we do, looking to get forward again, get that ball into his feet. He's going to be able to link up play very well with either Harrison or Lindstrom on the left, or potentially even Beto, who's definitely going to be all over the field. And the tip of the spear finally brings us to Beto. Now, I was umming and ahhing whether to have a complete forward or a pressing forward, but I think with Beto, with his determination, his agility, his speed, his power, really well suited to a pressing forward. So pressing forward attack, we've got the additional instruction of running from position. We know he doesn't just sit in the box. He's going to get out left. He's going to get out wide right. He's going to drop back to get the ball, even sometimes as deep a centre midfield looking to link up play and not just score goals. So Beto is a very, very important piece of the puzzle for David Moyes and Everton, and we're seeing the very, very best of what he's got to offer over the past few games. He was given an opportunity by Moyes, and it's safe to say he's definitely grasped that opportunity with both hands. He's scoring goals, and he's looking like a very, very good player indeed. So we've covered the individual player roles. Let's turn our attentions now to the tactical style and the team approach. Starting off with the mentality, we're setting it balanced. We don't want to go down the cautious or defensive route. That was the Sean Dyche way. Moyes stepped away from that. He likes to be a little bit more proactive in what they're doing now, a little bit more on the front foot, but I found being positive was a little bit too much to ask, so I think balanced is definitely the right approach here. Now in possession, we are going to be playing with a fairly wide attacking width, and on our approach play, we're going to be playing our defence, looking to work the ball down the wide areas. We want to get Mikalenko, we want to get Patterson, we want to get Coleman, whoever it may be involved. Get that ball, get the build-up play down the wide areas, and look to get the ball into dangerous places to be able to get the ball in to the penalty box. Our passing directness is standard. We don't want to go long ball, but ultimately we're not going to be tiki-taka either at the same time. So I think standard goes very, very well, goes hand in hand with that balanced approach we have, with our mentality. On the tempo, we're going to go slightly lower. We're not going to rush things. We're not going to panic on the ball. We want to try and dictate what we're doing, dictate terms, dictate tempo, and I think working slightly lower with a standard passing directness is going to work well. We're not going to be shy. If a long ball does make itself available, we're going to put it down there. But if it's a short one into feet, we're going to get that going as well. Now on the final third, I'm going to work the ball into the box. Of course, some of the individual players have got instructions to cross more often. If the chance to cross it in, guys, the opportunity is going to arise. With a powerhouse in the box of Beto, we really have got the best of both worlds. We can work it in patiently, or if there's a little bit of space, dump that ball into the box. But ideally, we know most of Everton's goals now come from inside the penalty area. Let's take our time. Let's be patient. Let's wait for the opening to come up, and hopefully clinical at the other end of the field. On the in transition, we are going to counter press. But obviously this is going to all depend on the sort of block we have, which we'll have a look at that shortly when we go on the out of possession. We're not going to have everybody up towards the halfway line, penning the opposition back in. We are going to press, but when it suits this team to do so. But we'll have, like I said, we'll have a look at that shortly. But when possession has been won, we're going to hold our shape. Let's not panic. Let's not be impatient. Let's get our foot on the ball. Let's look for a short, sharp pass. If it's there, we'll make it. We don't want to rush it. It's not the David Moyes way. Let's have a little bit more control of the football. But when a goalkeeper has got possession, we're going to look to distribute it anywhere across the back line. If the fullbacks are free, we'll get the ball going out wide, absolutely straight away. But if not, we have got the centre half that can look to bring the ball out from the back, and we're going to look for that defensive line to step up a little bit more and try and force the opposition back towards their own half. Now on the out of possession, it has to be a mid-block. We're not going to have our line, like we said, all the way up there and a high press. That's not what Everton do at all. A mid-block, we're going to invite the opposition a little bit further forward, of course, but we're not going to let them just play straight into our half. As soon as they come up towards the centre circle area of the field, we're going to look to engage, put a bit of pressure on, and with our two defensive midfielders sitting in there centrally, there's not going to be much room in the middle of the park for the opposition to work with. So they're either going to have to try and play through the lines very, very intricately to get past us, or they're going to have to go a little bit more direct. And when you've got the likes of Tarkowski, Braithwaite at the back, we're going to be cleaning them balls up all day. So with that mid-block from our attackers, it brings us to the defensive line. It is going to be a standard line. We don't want our line all the way back in our own box, inviting pressure and ultimately giving up a lot of space in the middle of the park. We want to be a lot more compact, still be very, very good defensively, but then we have got the 8 balls then to spring on the counter. Our defensive line is going to look to step up more when that ball's been won back. We don't want to sit in there. We want to push the opposition back into their own half a little bit, which in turn just eases a little bit of pressure from us defensively. So we want the defensive line to step up sort of there, midway between the halfway line and our own 18-yard box. But that's exactly what SofaScore says they're doing. The Everton line is definitely a lot higher now under Moyes than it was with Sean Dyche. So we know the tactics, we know the player individual roles. There's only one more thing for it. Let's simulate this on now. Can we keep our heads above water? And can we even have a nice cup run? And I'll see you at the end of the season for the results. Keep these crossed, guys. Come on, the Toffees. We are back at the end of the season. Everton, with this David Moyes setup, pulling far, far clear of the relegation zone. A superb season. And from what we can say and what we've seen so far, an absolutely fantastic setup here by David Moyes. On the goal side of things, we got 49 in 38 games, but that really helps when you're having 330 shots across the course of the season. Regarding the defensive side of things, we conceded 47 in 38. So not the best, but certainly not the worst. That's exactly why we are in 10th position. But what I want to take stock of, if we look at our clean sheets now, 13 clean sheets. We are joint fourth with Palace and Tottenham Hotspur as well. So we've had a really, really good season. Pickford and the defensive line definitely doing their jobs. In the FA Cup, we took on West Ham. We headed to the London Stadium, and unfortunately, we wasn't good enough on the day, falling short 2-1 as we exit the FA Cup. In the Carabao Cup, we marched on all the way through to the semi-final. We met Fulham, and we come out on top, 4-1 on aggregate, which meant a place in the final. And Everton needn't bothered of turning up to Wembley. An absolute disastrous performance. Man United 3-0 winners. Fernandes, Diallo, Morita punished us. No silverware yet again for Everton. But overall, it was a really, really magnificent and unexpected cup run. So I don't think we can moan with that at all. A 10th place finish, starting off with a 6-point deduction because the FA are trying to diddle Everton. But luckily enough, we've managed to get away with it. FA Cup, not so good, but the Carabao Cup, unfortunately, becoming runner-up. And with the goals in our team, Calvert-Lewin, Beto, Lindstrom, Harrison, all chipping in with superb goals tallies across the campaign. On the assists, they were really shared out across the whole team. Patterson leading the way with 9, Dwight McNeil with 7, Abdoulaye Doucouré, as we would have expected in that cam role, with 6. We could not have asked for a better season from this setup. David Moyes, it's an absolute masterclass. Off it, we've nailed it. But what we want to do now, jump into some match highlights. Let's have a look at how these goals were scored and how we went about our business on the field. In the match against Tottenham, we done very, very well to come out on top with a 2-1 win. And I want to just pause it there. You can see how far Beto has come back there. We said he was going to drop back into midfield. He's done that. He's dropped back. He's helping his midfielders out. We're looking to get the ball down these wide areas. We know Patterson is going to get forward. McNeil with the overlap, which then exactly what we wanted to see from that right-hand side of the field. We're going to look to move that ball inward, work our way into the penalty box. Beto carved himself out a little bit of space, gets just in front of the defender, puts it home. But you can see from back to front exactly what we wanted from them players just off this first highlight. The second goal was an own goal, but straight away again, we can see our intent down the right-hand side. We've got a nice press on. We're trying to force them turnovers. We forced a mistake there. Mikalenko driving forward into the box. He's going to look to get across, and he does. Causes panic, causes a mistake at the back there from Dragusin. Puts it past his own goalkeeper, and that is 2-0. Did end 2-1. We got the job done, but a lot of really, really good stuff coming down the ward areas. Exactly what you would have expected. In a 1-0 win at home against Manchester United, we've built the ball up from the back there. We've got Patterson in some space down the right-hand side. He's put the ball into a dangerous area. And if it's not Beto, it's Calvert-Lewin in there, causing problems for the opposition, putting themselves around the field. But it's another fantastic emphasis on them wide areas of the field. We're creating that many problems for the opposition. We're creating that many opportunities down, especially on the right-hand side. There's bags of space for Patterson to gallop into, where ultimately he's managed to cross the ball into the box and bang us into that 1-0 lead and ultimately give us the 3 points at the end of the game. In this 2-0 win against Bournemouth at home, We can see how we're pressurising the defenders. Ultimately, we're winning the ball back there on the edge of the box thanks to Harrison with intense pressure. Space out wide again on the right for Garner. Does deliver a fantastic ball into the box. Lindstrom's there. But straight away from that frozen screen now, look how many men we've got in the opposition penalty box. We are getting overloads, we're creating chances, and we're scoring goals. On our second goal, we are building out from the back again. Tarkowski getting his head up. Braithwaite is going to look to play the ball centrally into Garner. Exactly what we want to see from him. Garner, little bit of space. We've got the overlapping run there from Harrison. Getting straight towards the byline there. Getting towards it. Dragging defenders towards him. Plays a ball in. Who's there at the double? Calvert-Lewin. So really what we're seeing is how clinical, how dangerous we are in them wide areas. Whether it's Lindstrom, whether it's Harrison, whether it's Patterson, we get them overloads every single time and we are dangerous. So there it is, guys, in all of its glory. We've set the tactic up. In my opinion, we have nailed it. We've had a successful season in the Premier League. We've had a successful season as well in the domestic cup competitions. Well, not both, but the Carabao Cup. We got to a final, so we can't really argue with that. But Moyes, Renaissance at Everton 2.0. The future is definitely a lot brighter for Everton now, and I think the fans can really look forward to getting some more points on the board, playing some exciting football, and hopefully, potentially, see the glory days once again return to the Toffees. So there you go, guys, the David Moyes Renaissance at Everton. That's my interpretation of it. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If there's any manager tactical rebuilds, recreations you guys want to see, you know what to do. Drop it down in the comments. It's been fun, and I feel Everton are definitely now, once again, a team on the up, and their relegation fears are absolutely far behind them. Get in there, the Toffees. Get in there, Moyes. I will see you all next time. Bosh!